GF accused me of cheating with every female friend I had, while she had a guy friend with a crush on her. So, I broke up with her. Now, she wants me back. I've been with my girlfriend for 3 years. Our general dynamic is that she's very opinionated and has a very black and white perspective of thinking, especially when it comes to generalizations. For example, she believes men and women cannot be friends. Whereas, I'm a lot more laid back and I try to pride myself on being objective and seeing the gray area. My entire life, I've been able to connect better with women as opposed to men. Most of my closest friends have been women. I've been introduced to many romantic partners or have met some of my exes by associating with these friends, but I have never dated, pursued, or even thought about pursuing any of my actual friends. When I met my girlfriend, I was working in a restaurant and was very close friends with a few of the servers. We'd go out for drinks, share meals, hang out alone, and keep in contact outside of work. My girlfriend, being very insecure, absolutely hated this. We would constantly fight about the fact that I had female friends. There was one friend in particular she absolutely could not stand. I'll call her Jess. I cannot even begin to tell you how many god-awful, horrible fights there were over Jess. I was constantly accused by my girlfriend of being in love with Jess, only being with my girlfriend to bide my time until Jess was single. At one point, I was even accused of being the father to Jess's aborted son. I am not exaggerating when I say that I was constantly harassed and interrogated every single day by my girlfriend about Jess and our supposed secret relationship. Jess did turn out to be a bad friend, and we stopped talking 2 years ago. Then, it was any other friend that my girlfriend didn't like. I still have to listen to my girlfriend rant about Jess and our supposed secret relationship, by the way. This entire time, I am think God only knows how men and women cannot be friends. I am constantly told about men and women she knows in real life cheating and being cheated on with their friends. I am constantly told that if she ever has a guy friend, I should be worried because she's only friends with guys she feels some kind of way about. After a solid year of being constantly harassed by my girlfriend about every non-lesbian in my life, we came to a compromise. I will not add any women, and I will never hang out alone with another girl. This was after negotiating from, if a girl is there, I shouldn't go, even though she initially agreed that it's okay for me to add friends and colleagues on Facebook and Instagram as long as I actually know them. She still stalks my friends list and interrogates me about any new woman that may be on there. At this point, I started working in a more male-dominated field. While I still have to listen to her speculate and accuse me of being in love with whichever random woman I work a shift with, it's usually just a sly comment and only occasionally a full-blown argument. About a year ago, my girlfriend confesses to something sus the day my grandmother dies. She tells me that she was talking to her ex-situationship. This guy was a real piece of work, and when he had reached out to her previously, I gave her my blessing to talk to him and get closure. The only catch being, they don't meet up, and she saves all the messages between them because she deleted everyone's messages off her phone. He asked her to meet up with him and suck his joystick. I had to argue with her to block him because she doesn't like to block people, and she finally relented. So, I was obviously upset because why was he unblocked? Her excuse was that she unblocked everybody, and he messaged her, which is weird but okay. Let me see the messages, she says. She deleted them. Now, I'm pissed and emotionally drained from the fact that my grandmother just died. We get into a fight, and I demand she blocks him again. She says she did. The next day, we go back to my place, and I've already moved past it, until I playfully reach out to grab her phone. She rips it out of my hand and gives me about 3 nonsense reasons as to why she did that. Then, finally, she tells me it's because he didn't block her yet. At this point, I'm furious. I feel betrayed, and I feel even more upset because the night before, she made another cheating accusation. She thought it was suspicious that I was watching her place a DoorDash order on my phone. And here she is, actually doing something sketchy. I ultimately compromise again and get over it so quickly. Fast forward to about a few months ago. My girlfriend has settled down quite a bit in regards to the whole cheating thing. I mainly associate with men now. There are women I work with, but we're not close. A seldom few are added into the abyss that I call my Facebook friends list or my Instagram followers, never to be interacted with. I am still accused of collecting women as backups. My girlfriend starts a new job at a hotel, and she immediately connects with her manager, a guy I'll call Jeff. Jeff has a girlfriend, but apparently spends his entire shift pining after my girlfriend and trash-talking his own girlfriend. He stays late on her shifts to help her, and their friendship progresses to the point where she calls him off the clock to come into work and solve issues at their job. He even gets a job at the sister hotel and just goes to my girlfriend's job to hang out with her. He calls her when he's bored, but not when he's around his girlfriend because she doesn't want him talking to my girlfriend. He's openly admitted to her that he has a crush on her, and she doesn't see a problem with this at all. What worries me, girlfriend has a history of cheating is a significant issue in my relationship. She cheated on her last partner but claims it wasn't a real relationship, so it doesn't count. Despite the fact that they were both in an exclusive relationship, she also does not want me interacting with this guy at all. I made an effort to introduce her to Jess and any of my other friends. I told her that at any point in time, she could talk to Jess about our friendship. However, I am still not allowed to have any women as friends in my life. Out of anger and in an attempt to get her to see the hypocrisy, I told her if she has a guy friend and she is going to break the rules we have for friends, then I should be able to have friends that are women. She pretended to agree, but then it turned into, so, which girl do you have in mind, and who are you going to run to? This then resulted in a fight. I have no idea how to proceed. I'm considering breaking up with her, but I feel I might be overreacting. I am worried about being cheated on because our relationship cannot come back from that, but I am also incredibly upset by the double standard. How can I make her see my point of view, that her behavior is hypocritical? TLDR. My girlfriend has spent the last 3 years arguing and fighting with me over any woman that so much as makes eye contact with me because men and women can't be friends. She now has a guy friend that openly admits his desire to be with my girlfriend, and she doesn't see how she's wrong. Update. A few commentators asked me why I stayed with her for so long. The honest truth is, I love her. I still love her. And I can ultimately recognize that she was extremely hypocritical, emotionally abusive, and controlling. I never really believed that was the real her because when I met her, she had started the depot shot, and that made her bonkers. As the effects of the shot wore off, she started to mellow out, even though it was still bad. The very, very slow progress gave me hope, and that's what I held on to. It's very easy to look at my original post and think only of bad things because that's the only thing I shared, but we had so many great moments too. I did end up breaking up with her. With that being said, this is probably going to be a longer post, so if that's all the update you want, you can stop reading here. After I made this initial post, I read every comment as they came in. Eventually, I ended up reading her my original post in full, and all of your replies. This was, of course, an issue for her. First, it was why would you do that? Why would you post our personal business online? Then it turned into, who cares what they think? They're just random people on the internet. We argued every day for about a week. I'll be honest, none of the advice really mattered. I didn't follow it. I love her, after all, and I believed we could work it out. We talked a lot too. I genuinely believe she had no feelings for Jeff whatsoever. I also believed her when she told me that she told him that they would never be more than friends. Whether I was being gullible or not, the main issue now was with the double standard of her having a close guy friend when women aren't even allowed to look at me without it being a topic of argument. Later, I did what I've done the entire relationship. I compromised my feelings and moved on with the understanding that I would no longer be tolerating any accusations about me being unfaithful or my feelings of love or attraction towards other women. At that point, we were talking about the argument instead of actually arguing, and we got on the topic of Jess again, my secret relationship and my love for her. I told her that I wasn't going to put up with it anymore. The subject then got changed to a girl I currently work with, Tiff. Tiff has been a subject of many fights between my girlfriend and me. I am obviously in love with her because I tell my girlfriend that I can't stand her. I reassure her again and tell her that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I am then told that I'm being dismissive of her feelings. I tell her, I told you that I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. If you can't drop it, then I don't want to talk to you anymore tonight. And I hung up on her. The next day, I'm at work and I texted her, asking if she was still in a mood. She says no. Then she starts texting me huge paragraphs, saying it's okay if you do like Tiff. If you can just be honest with me, we can work past it together. At this point, I'm starting to get frustrated and I get upset. I was literally begging her to drop it. I finally just said, "This is the last time I'm going to tell you. I do not have feelings for Tiff. Please stop. I don't want to talk to you if this is all we're going to talk about." She then has the audacity to say, "I think you do. I just don't think you know you do. You're too young to know how you feel, and you probably just don't realize how you really feel." This was my breaking point. As I sat there staring at my phone, a singular comment from my last post just popped into my head. "Imagine how much your mental health will improve once you dump her." I finally just texted her that this isn't working out and then I'm breaking up with her. Like I had anticipated, she did not take it well. I've tried to break up with my girlfriend in the past. When we first started dating, she showed up to my home and threatened to slaughter herself if I left her. Call me stupid, but that worked on me. She knows that I have attempted before. She knows that I lost my best friend ever to self-slaughter. I told her if she ever threatened me with that again, I'd have her committed. She starts freaking out, calling me 10 times while I am at work, blowing up my phone, saying that she is in physical pain because I broke up with her. She can't breathe. Her chest hurts. I stick to my guns and just say, "If that's really how you're feeling, I can call an ambulance for you." I keep telling her that I'm breaking up with her. I don't hear from her again for a few hours. She calls me on my way home from work, asking why I haven't texted or called her. She was so upset that she fell and hurt herself. I just keep telling her, "I can call an ambulance for you if you'd like." Eventually, I say she's only embarrassing herself by making these threats, and if she doesn't stop, I'll call the police and have them commit her. Then she starts telling me that I don't care about her, that I don't love her, the whole night, 9 yards. I just keep saying, "I love you so much," and this breaks my heart. But my mental health is suffering because of the way you treat me. Finally, she just tells me that I can't break up with her, that I don't have a good reason to. And I say, "I am a grown adult in the United States of America. I can break up with you because the sky is blue if I so desire." You're probably wondering why I haven't just blocked her at this point, and it's because I was genuinely terrified that she would show up to my job and make a scene or show up at my house, which leads me to the next part of the story. She keeps asking me how long I'm going to be mad at her, and is in denial about the fact that we've broken up. The next morning, I woke up really early to take my roommate to work. On my way home, I changed my relationship status on Facebook to single and updated my profile picture. She calls me again, asking, "Where are you? Why aren't you home?" I freak out, screaming at her on the phone, "You better not be inside my house. Leave my house, you lunatic," and stuff like that. I even threatened to call the police on her and get a restraining order. She calls my bluff. I pulled into a parking lot where I can see her car in front of my house. She was never in my house, just in the parking lot. I texted her to leave and kept telling her I'd call the cops if she didn't. She stopped answering. I didn't want to call the police mainly because I've often seen them weaponized by the women in my life, which is another reason I didn't want to confront her in person. So, I called her dad instead. I told him the situation, and it turns out he followed her to my house to get her to leave. I later found out that Jeff did call her the day we broke up. He was happy that her relationship with me was over. She cursed him out and blocked his number. I keep telling her that the fact that it even came to this just proves that she doesn't respect me. The next few weeks have been her calling and texting me to work things out, with multiple apologies and promises of change. Her family started out as understanding and supportive of me, but lately, they've been randomly calling me behind her back to ask how long this is going to go on, because she is incredibly depressed. Despite the fact that I've made it clear that, as of right now, I have no intention of taking her back, after one phone call from her stepdad, where he started to raise his voice, I just hung up and blocked her whole family. I just keep telling her the same thing. I have no intention of getting back together with you. Maybe in the future, after you work on yourself, we can talk about it. I haven't blocked her because I do care about her. I want her in my life, just not in a romantic sense. I tell her that if she can't handle just being my friend, that I will have to stop talking to her altogether. And that just because I am her friend, I don't want her to think that means we are getting back together. The last time I spoke to her, a few days ago, it seems that she's finally understanding the gravity of the situation. She is taking accountability and has already met with a therapist. We've been broken up for about a month and a half. I do feel a lot better mentally. I feel kind of free. I don't have to justify anything to anybody. I also feel alone and a bit depressed at times. I feel stupid for letting someone emotionally bully me into getting rid of all my close friends. It's a mixed bag, but I'm taking this time to work on myself. TLDR. I broke up with my girlfriend because, even after I let her have her way, she still tried to accuse me of cheating and being in love with other women. Then she told me I, a 28-year-old man, was too young to know how I really felt. She then called me 30 to 50 times in 2 days and showed up at my house after trying to emotionally blackmail me into taking her back. Story 2. This is a throwaway due to some personal info on this post. I don't want it being linked back to my main account. Long story short, my 28-year-old wife and I, a 28-year-old female, are estranged from her family and have been since she was a teenager. She met Eva in school, and they were inseparable, with Eva letting my wife stay over a lot as well as providing a constant source of support. I met my wife at university. Unfortunately, Eva died suddenly a year into our relationship. I had met her a few times, and she was lovely. My wife was understandably devastated. 2 years ago, we married, and she took my last name, Brown. Our baby girl is due in the spring, and understandably, my wife wants to honor Eva in her name. This is something that she has said throughout the relationship. I was happy with the idea of honoring her, and we have discussed baby names throughout the relationship and pregnancy. The leading name we were tossing about was a place name that had significant memories for them. Yesterday, she came up to me and said that she had a dream about Eva asking her to remember her by her name. She had dreams like this around the time Eva died, but none recently, to my knowledge. To memorialize her, our baby must be called Eva, she said. I replied, absolutely no way. She asked, why not? And I reminded her of the historical figure Eva Braun, pronounced Brown, wife of probably one of history's most evil figures. I reassured her that we will tell our kids about Aunt Eva and she'll always be remembered, but my wife refused. It has to be her name, she insisted. Few will make the link to the historical character, and she won't be bullied at school. She mentioned that she had fallen out with the place name and a family member has had a baby recently with a similar name, suggesting things to do with Eva, such as her birthstone or honoring her through a middle name, or even names that had Eve or Eva in them, but not Eva itself. She started crying and said that she won't name the baby anything else, as it's the ultimate way Eva can live on. I said it's a crappy situation, and if we had literally any other surname, we would, but I literally can't. Not only am I extremely morally opposed, but I work in a field where if there was even a whisper that I named my child Eva Brown, my work could be at risk. She's saying I'm making excuses and not supporting her, as she is putting in a lot of effort to having this baby. This resulted in a fight, and now I am on the couch for the second night. Some of our friends are saying I'm being dramatic, but my sister, the mother of Brooke, is telling me that if she continues to register the baby without her, to be honest, I'm leaning that way. If she continues not to compromise, I'm really not sure what to do. Am I the idiot for not wanting to name my baby Eva? Update. Well, soon after posting, I called up Eva's sister, Rose. Rose is my wife. Lou's really close to her, and I explained the situation. I know I shouldn't get people involved in marital matters, but Rose's opinion really matters to Lou, especially when Eva is involved. Rose agreed with me that naming a daughter Eva Brown would be harmful, and she mentioned something that we believe to be a game changer. One thing you must know about the late Eva, dear reader, was that she was a writer. She kept journals, which her sister held on to after her death. In one of these journals was a baby name list where she gave 5 names for a girl and 5 names for a boy. Rose held on to these names when she was having children. One of her sons is named the top boy name, but she's done now and wants to give it to my wife. But we believe we have to introduce this carefully, so we launched a game plan. The next day, I sat down with Lou and said, on no uncertain terms, our daughter would not be called Eva Brown. It's the only surname we have, and Eva is not something I'd feel comfortable pairing with it. As I mentioned in comments, my wife is estranged from her family and often jokes that we got married so young, at 22, so she could get rid of her maiden name. She agreed that our child will take our married name, but continued to stress about forgetting Eva. I also mentioned that by naming a child Eva, you'd be pressuring that child to live on for the dead Eva, and that's a big burden for young shoulders. My cousin was named after a dead relative, and my grandparents often compared him to that relative, and that's not something I want for my own child. That seemed to resonate, and she admitted that pregnancy was bringing up old feelings, as she and Eva always said that they'd be pregnant together. I suggested therapy, and she started therapy last week. I then talked about mine and Rose's conversation, and she was very interested. We agreed that it would be lovely giving Eva the opportunity to name a child, knowing it was something she was seemingly passionate about. We have narrowed it down between 2 of the 5 girl names. Turns out, the girl has taste. Being able to discuss baby names and think about our daughter as her own personal has been a blessing. And I can see my wife is on the mends. I think this will be the only update, and I can't wait to meet my daughter. Thank you all for your help.